That's pretty
kind
crazy.
of depressing, but it pays well.
Really?
Not really.
Yeah, and I mean, but other than that story though, throughout the summer, I've had some really weird experiences. For the first half of the summer, I really didn't do much. I just, stayed at home and relaxed a little bit.
I hate it. It feels like you're wasting...
It did, but, now I have an internship and I'm actually doing something. But, I had an experience that, everyone talks about. I thought it was an urban legend. I didn't even think this was true. But, and it happened to me. So I'm at home and I get a knock on the door. It's about 11:30, 12 o'clock. It's like a Tuesday. It's like a weekday. We're not expecting anybody. I thought maybe it was Myles or somebody like that. And so I open the door, and it's these two guys dressed up real nice. And, I'm not dressed up at all. I just, woken up. It was like 12:30 in the summer, and I'm a teenager. I just woke up.
Yeah.
And so this guy's like, hey, do you have a religion? And I was like, that's an awkward question to ask somebody.
Yeah,
but like,
especially, why would you ask someone that you don't know? Because would you walk up to a random person and ask
No,
them?
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't even ask that to maybe even a friend.
Exactly, but besides, instead of answering, I was just so, shocked that, you just never talk about religion, politics with people, you just keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
So he asked me, do I have a religion? And I was like, no, not really, because I was, thinking, excuse me, I was thinking about what he said and trying to figure out what was going on. Yeah, I like to do that a lot.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, I'm from the Jehovah's Witness. And I was like, oh, hell no. What is this sorcery?
Do they actually ever convince people to convert to Jehovah's Witnesses right there on the spot when they go to houses? Because you have to be really gullible.
No, he was actually really nice though. I was telling him, I didn't want to shut him down. Yeah. And I wanted to hear what he had to say because, I've never met anyone Jehovah's Witness. I never,
they don't
heard
celebrate
anything.
birthdays.
Really? That's horrible.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to him and I was like, so then what is your church like? What is different than Catholic church? Because that's what I am. And so he was explaining me some stuff and, it seemed interesting, the concept, but I was not going to buy it. And so I was like, well, actually I have to go do yard work. And he's like, well, we can do yard work. We can help you out. And I was like, wait a tick, you're wearing a suit and a tie and slacks and some nice shoes. Like, don't worry, man. If it's gonna help us, get another Jehovah's Witness.
Did you get a commission or something?
I was like, exactly. That's what I thought. I was like, are you getting paid by the follower or how does this work? And so I ended up telling him, I don't want to do this, but I'll take your flyer, and I'll go hit up your is it church?
That's why I don't think Jehovah's Witness is ever going to be a predominant religion. What other religion is that invasive?
Make a Facebook group or something. Don't
yeah,
just go
seriously.
It was such an awkward moment that I've never been put in that situation.
I don't even know what I would have answered.
And they were like, you know anybody that wants to convert? And so one of my neighbors was a total d-bag, so I pointed to his door, and I didn't see those people for the rest of the day. So
well done.
It was pretty funny. Anyways, Myles, so you're telling me a story about how certain things, relating back to our last segment, how certain things are a lot different in terms of what you can and can't do in college that you could or couldn't do in high school.
Yeah, I was just kind of highlighting the point that so many things when you go to college are different than in high school that it's kind of overwhelming, but at the same time it's really cool.
Yeah, first in general, the classes are a lot different. In high school they give you a lot of busy work, a lot of stuff just to keep your mouth shut while they do their grading or whatever. You don't get that in college.
Yeah,
you only have 5 grades a semester, and it is so stressful getting a bad grade.
You know what doesn't make sense either? Every single person that's older than you will tell you that, almost every single day of your senior year. And then once it's actually happening,
and every single person that is told that doesn't believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, okay. No, it'll be 5 grades. Nah.
Yeah. Okay, 3 grades? Okay, well, I'll just get 100 on all of them.
Yeah, and then you get 100 in the class.
It isn't until that 2 days before your test when you realize you don't know anything on it.
And the test is 100 questions long, and it's just as hard as any other class that you've ever taken in your life.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of brings me to the point, since so many things are different, there's a lot of things that are cool now that weren't in high school, and vice versa. For instance,
definitely.
Skipping class.
Yeah, when someone skips class and they either get a failing grade for skipping in the classes that do take attendance, or they just fail their test because they're not in class, it is not cool to waste $2,000 because you wanted to sleep in.
There's nothing cool about missing class.
Your parents are going to get on you, your GPA is going to fall. I knew this girl last semester, and I kid you not, Mom, this is actually Lindsay's roommate. Her GPA was a .24. Not 1.24, or not 2.4, but 0.24, 2/4, 24% of your one.
Wow, that's pretty pathetic. And the thing is, in college, you don't.
It's so hard.
To do that bad in high school, you have to try to do that bad.
But she actually did really well in high school. That's the weird thing. She just didn't transition well because she didn't take her test.
Yeah.
She didn't do whatever, and it was horrible. And so, what are the other things, Myles?
I don't know. Some other things that I pointed out: texting in class. not cool in college anymore. You know, texting in high school, you're kind of trying to sneak it, and people see you sneaking it.
Yeah, in college they don't care. It's like if you don't learn it, they're not gonna get a pay doc because you failed your class. They're just gonna know that you're the idiot.
Yes, exactly.
Wasted money.
But then, other than just the school side, you know, I mean, me and Zack were talking about, you know how in high school everyone's kind of labeled. Not even if you want to be, you just kind of are. You're a soccer guy, basketball guy,
nerd,
goth,
or like,
whatever.
Popular girl, whatever.
Those labels don't exist in college.
A gossip girl.
Yeah, if they do exist, they change a lot.
Yeah, for example, like being popular in high school consists of like maybe knowing like 50 people. Like if you know 50 people really well and you hang out with them a lot, then you're really popular in high school.
Yeah,
but if you know 50 people in college, you're knowing 50 people out of 30,000 instead of 50 people out of like
the numbers
your 800 graduating class. It just the numbers don't match up, and it's really hard to really know a lot of people. So when you go to classes, you don't know anybody. You're like sitting there with 120 people that you don't even know.
Those 120 people could easily know 50 people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when I was in class, it would be really awkward because I would have the 3-hour art class I was talking about. There was actually people from my English class, and I didn't know them, but I knew them from another class, and I never got to talk to them. Like I would try to talk to them, but it'd be awkward. And it's not like you just in high school you're like, hey, my name is Zack. There, it's like with so many people hooking up, so many people doing whatever. It's like it's not the same mindset. They're not, people don't think that you're just trying to get to know them.
That's the other thing. You got people that are just out of high school, and you have people who are
like 30s or 50s. Yeah,
who don't want to have anything to do with you.
Exactly. And that's actually one of the things. One of the guys I knew was 28, and I was like, hey man, what's up for English? And he's like, I don't know. I got my kid at home. I can't talk to you. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. But I mean, I bet you at big schools where there's big sports programs, popularity might be kind of...
Yeah, like for the football players or whatever.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit at Texas State.
But that's just expected.
Yeah, but also the drama changes. For example, in high school when you have drama, it's like, you just don't talk to them and you just avoid them. And if they have a class with them, you just, don't talk to them.
But also in high school when there's drama, especially with girls, it like overwhelms them. It like takes them over. That's all they can think about, talk about.
Yeah.
That's what they're... And it's usually the drama in high school rarely ever has anything to do with your future grades or your success or anything like that. It's always about what someone else has done to you or said.
Exactly, and in college, it's more like I do something to offend somebody and I have to live with these people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so awkward because I was in that situation where a bunch of people didn't like me, and it was like weird because I would go, downstairs to shoot some pool, and there would be 10 people I don't like and don't like me in the same room. It was just so awkward. It's not like it's not like I can go home because that is my home,
Yeah.
And I have to pay a lot of money to live there, so it's kind of awkward. And so, moral of the story is, pick your friends, pick your fights, and you'll be fine. And last thing that we're gonna talk about, I was actually in Florida 2 weeks ago, Myles, and if you listen to ZGMB, all three of you will know that Myles is a huge fan of the Ridley turtle.
Oh yes.
And so I was in Florida and we were on the fishing pier, me and Lindsay, and I noticed that there was a large, object in the water. And I'm thinking like, okay, that's a really weird shark. Whenever I see something in the water, I assume it's a shark. Just
that's
like
what Jaws has done to all of us.
A leaf touches me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. No. So it starts surfacing, and it's this huge Ridley sea turtle, and it's eating a jellyfish. And I try to get on my camera, but it just goes up, eats a jellyfish, and goes back down. It was like the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
What I would have done to see that.
Exactly. What you would have done to see that.
Everyone should see a Ridley turtle once before they die.
Exactly. It was so beautiful. And, I saw a manta ray and all this other stuff. And while we were in Florida, actually the day that we were going to that pier, we were going really early in the morning. I was, I had to go to the restroom. I woke up and, I had, I didn't have to go to the restroom. I had to go to the restroom, Some serious business was backed up. So I'm in the restroom and, I usually, don't take long at all. So I finished the restroom, and my cousin, he doesn't live in his house really. He lives there about 3 months a year, and the other months he's in Iraq or Afghanistan doing work with, different private military corporations. So he doesn't really have a lot of house stuff. He has a lot of house stuff, but all his stuff is understocked, or he might not have this. So
you can tell he doesn't live there.
Yeah. So when he comes back, he buys everything. But he was, he has 3 or 4 days off the plane. So I'm in the restroom, and I finish, and I open the door, and I'm walking out, and I glance back to turn off the light, and I notice that the water in the toilet is rising. So now, it's kind of awkward because I already made eye contact with everybody as I left the restroom. So I have to be like, oh crap, literally. So I walk back into the restroom, close and lock the door, and I'm looking
instead of actually dealing with the...
No. I'm in the restroom now, and the water's rising.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, he doesn't have a plunger. Because he doesn't, he's only there for so long. He didn't buy a plunger for the guest bathroom. So I'm like, I may have to dig this out with my bare hands.
Please tell me you did it.
And so I'm looking for it out. I'm like, oh my god, this is horrible. And so I see one of those cleaner thingies, you know, the brush cleaners that you spray the blue stuff and you clean it out, whatever. So I see one of those. I'm like, oh my god, this is a miracle. So I stick it in there, and you know, I do whatever, and the water starts to drop.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, this is amazing. I go to the beach, story is saved. I go to pull the thing out of the toilet, but the head is jammed in the toilet bowl. Now, the worst is over. Okay, my family's waiting, and they're knocking on the door like, hey, what's going on? But the worst is over.
What do you say to that?
I'm just
what's going on?
I'm just like, I had to go to the restroom. My stomach felt weird, so I kind of got out of that. Now, this toilet water is rising. It's not rising anymore. I solved the main problem that was really going to be a problem for me.
Yeah.
And I had really weak thumbs. You know, I injured them during, you know, my playing soccer. You know, people would playing goalie and whatnot. My thumb, the tendons got a little injured.
Intense Yu-Gi-Oh playing.
Yeah, intense Yu-Gi-Oh playing, drawing those cards. You know, 2-0ing people and whatnot. So my thumbs are kind of weak. So I was like Kamehameha waving, like grabbing it and just pulling up like with all my like strength.
Yeah.
And I finally got it out, and it took me about 12 minutes. Like, and so people are wondering, like, is he okay in there? Is he dying? Like, what is going on? Like, you just hear me struggling in the bathroom.
Really hurt.
I'm like trying to pick this thing up, and I finally get it out, and I pop it back on the head, go to the beach, see a Ridley turtle, have a great day. Then I was like, man, that was so inconvenient. You know, I washed my hands so good that, you know, all in all, it was not bad. You know,
I just stuck your hands in a toilet full of your own shit.
No, it was already down. It was just the water, you know, like the water that rises back up.
I see it.
But it was jammed to the point where I couldn't, you know, just pull it out because the plastic, it came off. And so, you know, moral of the story, make sure that there's a plunger that's not going to come off. You know, those black plungers with the wooden stick are not going to fail. You know, those have been around since like the 70s. 1870s, like forever. So, you know, those will always work. So please excuse the length of the segment, but you know, this is the middle of the show, so that's how it's gonna go. And also, real quick, we're gonna talk about the show availability. We're actually gonna be uploading these videos to Tumblr, and we're gonna try to do 3 or 4 shows during summer, a show during Christmas and Thanksgiving break.
Oh, nice.
2 shows during spring break. And, you know, if we have any major holidays, you know, like, you know, those random ones are like 4 or 5 day weekends.
Memorial Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day. There you go. So we're going to try to upload about 12 shows a year, just so you know. And we're also going to put this on the Tumblr. So next we're going to talk about the Lil Wayne lyric analysis and the plain story. This is EGMD.